My humans! We're watching Life's Road to Winning Blizzcon. We're in the round of 16. It's game number 4. It's on Merry-Go-Round, which is a map that is just bad for them Zergs. So we see Life at the outset doing all the usual Zergy things. I'm going to do these last games a little quickly just due to the fact that we want to be sure to save a little bit of time for questions. And because I'm running over. Life early expandas. Gets, I think, very, very fortunate with scouting first, but even so, opts to go for hatch then pool. Why, you might say? Because gateway first is pretty common on this map. Gateway first in some fashion. Doesn't stop Life from just, expanding 3 times anyways, but just in a slightly more conservative ordering. This is where we get the misreads after a sickeningly long game where Zest barely wins. B-E-A-R, barely. I think Life makes a slight misread, but is just so good it still takes him a long time to die. Alright. Trying to scout, seeing nothing. Alright. Double gas at 5:30. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything that's out of the ordinary here. There's really none. I think Zest just does a really good job of hiding his Dark Templar tech. Now, if you are, Life, you're going to be getting real suspicious, right? You wandered a Zergling up here. You saw no gateways. It's 6:30. You see no Phoenixes. And I think it's entirely reasonable for Life to say, alright, well, I'll just get the speed and the Roach Warren. Right. There they are, says Life. Ah, yes, there they are. Life does this thing that I really enjoy out of him and, out of not a lot of other players. As he gets to around this 40 drone count, when he goes for Zergling speed first, he just builds a slew of roaches to make an attack. It's kind of like, well, dude, if I invested in speed, I may as well use speed and make Zerglings. And if I'm using speed by making Zerglings, I may as well just make an attack. Sees no third. And in this position, Life, though he's flooding units right now, can begin to build drones very quickly. He spots the DTs. This sucks. Layer goes down, and he's just going to make the attack anyways. A lot of times with what Life's doing right now, where he's building a lot of Lings and Roaches, this is so large that you can target fire the debris and break through. And just ruin Protosses. Just destroy the crap out of them. In fact, we're going to see something somewhat similar, where Life is just like, and sends a whole bunch of stuff to attack. Out of Zest, we see the usual, get the blank. Doesn't need to destroy debris because stalkers are walking debris, baby. The only thing that's saving them is the DTs right now. Select, box, send up the ramp. That's probably what I would do. Although I don't know if it's that good. As all this is going on, Life, of course, finds a way to sneak in some drones and is getting this. I think he cancels this and then goes Hydras. He might let it finish. Regardless, he lets the Overseer get constructed. And after killing off, it looks like hardly anything. I think this is the luckiest pickup in the world, getting these 2 Archons. It's so good. Aw, yes. It was just kind of like a kooky, dirtly game. Where I think the important thing from Life's point of view is that he did get Zergling speed and did get the Roach Warren, and then still got the layer very, very quickly. And that he built both lots of Lings and lots of Roaches when he halted at 40 supply to try to punish any of the number of attacks that were going on. And even though he lost the expansion to DTs, he still's got the time to recover. Grew before speed. A good play indeed. And the rest of this game is a little bit dry. Zest just has such a big advantage from, you know, getting the upgrades down. It's 0-0 versus 1-0 and soon enough 2-0. I don't think this merits too much discussion. It's one of those things where if you just don't get the read right, mega deadness. In Life, I love this. He, like, refuses to get far away from that ramp. Utter refusal. And also in a somewhat all-in-ish fashion, is never going to look back and make drones. Never, ever, ever. Sniping mama ship cores. Zest building only stalkers, very intuitive. He has the right economy to build only stalkers. Blah 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 blah. I think this is just a good example of closing out a game. Not expanding, no reason to expand if you're Protoss. Absolutely not. You're 2 base versus 2 base, play it careful. Yeah, get those upgrades. A 2 base Zerg does not have options. I even think this is cool, to deny any sort of weird burrowing crap. Keep in mind, Zest lost to Life, who used burrow play earlier in the series. When the robo facility's done, what gets built? Take a wild guess. If you say an immortal, think again. I still remember in the early days of StarCraft 2, when going for mass stalker was just it. That's all you had to do. A few DTs here and there. I mean, with the 3rd base coming up, this is a very difficult choice for Zest. I should say a difficult defense for Zest. I don't think it's a difficult choice. I think it's absolutely correct to take an expansion. I just think it is incorrect to go too heavy into devoting dudes to mining at it. Only stalkers. I mean, it's a close micro battle. I think it will always be a close micro battle. But if you are 2 base Protoss versus 2 base Zerg, just gotta build units. Can't take expansions, can't do big tech switches. A single upgrade of bold choice robo facility has not built any units. Not this game. Typically would build an Observer and Immortals. Much later would build Colossus. Nothing right now. Just gotta build units. Where's our probes? There's our probes. Intense micro, strategically speaking, nothing complex. Oh, very well, there we are. And in one of the closest battles to date, Zest blinks forward. Boom. Insanely close game. Again, not the most analysis demanding game. We had a Zerg who cleverly set himself up for an attack, cleverly responded, and then we wound up with 10 minutes of seeing the consequences of it. This game is kind of similar, but I don't know, it piques my interest pretty hard. So, first and foremost, map is Catalina, more commonly as I call it, Cantonella. Pretty ordinary map in terms of your expansion. Pretty weird map with this little cliffy here. And Zest clearly has something malicious planned. We've seen him go for Nexus first throughout, and decides just this one time not to do it. Come on, man. Watch this. Oh, yeah. Who wants to ladder now? Not a lot of drones getting pulled. That's so sick. Probe gets pushed through, and all Life does is focus on killing this probe. That is his entire focus. He is not bringing a lot down. He is just staying here, trying to pick up the other probe. And he misses. Alright, cool. This is like, I think, the most intense thing I have ever seen. I was losing my mind when I saw this. Gets one. Barely gets it in. Okay, we're good. I don't really know how to talk about how to do that. I don't know how to do that. Life builds a bunch of Zerglings, runs around it, and is fine. I don't know how you do that. I mean, that sort of control is just remarkable. I think that that's probably the right play in a lot of situations that seem not like it. Target the probe, especially if you have one of these weird wall-offs. The probe is almost a higher value target than the cannons being constructed. And Life just wanders around, hits the Nexus to force everything to get pulled off, kills it. And this is a situation where when we look at the numbers, we say, oh yeah, Life's got it. He's taking his third. Zest is taking his expansion. So, there's two ways to look at this. My dear buddy Case, in card games, likes to talk about asking the question, how do I lose? How do I lose this game? The game is won. How do I lose, and how do I avoid losing? And even though I don't do this in card games, because I'm awful, Life does something very funky. In strategy games, I'm pretty responsible about saying, how do I lose, and avoiding that. Life is just gonna go, well dude, how do I win? So how do I lose? Still a good step one. How do you lose? Well, from the Protoss' point of view, Protoss just turtles, builds up a big ol' scary army, uses Colossus force fields and other such deviousness to just win the damn game. Turtling, waiting, turtling, waiting, holding on, hanging on. Here's Life's thought process. After a defended cannon rush, there is no way he can do a big, scary ground push. None. This Nexus has just not been alive that long. It hasn't been able to build cannons. Excuse me, it hasn't been able to build probes, which would let him build more gateway units. He can't attack me early. Hydralisks are the most well-rounded choice for defense. He could be going for some robo-type tech. Immortal pushes, easily thwarted with Hydralisk Den. Gateway units, easily thwarted with Hydralisk Den. Air units, easily repelled with Hydralisk Den. Hydralisks are typically not a choice because they're very expensive. And they don't accomplish terrifically much other than the big defense. So for Life to be in this spot and to say, oh yeah, I just need to defend, I just need to stay alive, is a fantastic move. When you have done a huge crushing blow, building Hydralisks is rarely a bad choice. Why would you not build Hydras to attack normally? Well, if your Protoss player took a third, he'll probably have a Colossus and some stuff there, able to easily kill a small Hydra force. In this spot, Life can definitely attack Hydras on a third base to kill those off. Super duper definitely. Watch what Life actually does, though. Just starts building Hydras. Built up to 70 drones. Just building Hydras. Getting the augments. Getting the Spire, that's great. You know, he can transition. He's got a Ling here, that's great, he can scout. Just building Hydras, just lots of Hydras getting built, even getting +2 range. Getting the Rochewarren. Still building Hydras. Still building. And then does something that I just don't do here. He just attacks. There's no third. He just straight attacks. Now, initially I was like, whoa, 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 Life. Whoa, easy, man. But it's the same simple thing that we saw in the previous game. If Life builds a lot of units that causes the opponent to build stuff that Mutalisks suck against, we'll just kill him with Mutas. Phoenix count? 4. No problem. Corruptors getting produced. Huge attack at the front. Remember our good old Corruptor Ling Roach push from game 1? Same thing. Ling, Hydra, Corruptor push coming up in this game. Soon enough, he will stockpile enough gas to build Mutalisks. And just like all good strategies, sometimes you win long before your fancy schmancy transition ever takes into effect. Ooh. So easy to look at that position for Life and to go, he won with the big Ling Hydra attack. He's going Ling Hydra with Corruptors, just like game 1, except it was Corruptors into Ling Roach instead of Ling Hydra. He's going to apply pressure while he takes a 4th to make Protoss build bad versus Muta units. And then Zerg builds the Mutalisk. Boom! If you're behind, getting Roaches, so good, and then attacking with them. Oh! So excellent. Fear Dragon 64 says, Day 9, as a Protoss against Swarm Host, what would you say should be the harass priority? Expo hatches, drones, the army. Here's my favorite. We saw this as an example in game number 3. Position your Warp Prism on the side of the freshest expansions. Ooh. Position them on the side of the freshest, newest expansions. And then harass the crap out of that with the drop while your main army is pushing the opposite side. So nice because you'll tend to do very, very high damage on the fresher expansion side because Swarm Hosts are only trying to make the game go on longer. What's the way to stop the game from going on longer? To deny Zerg his newest set of resources. If he is almost mined out in the main, and you're warping in there, killing stuff off, and I mean, yeah, you can do some damage, you might be able to justify it, but it doesn't stop the Zerg from doing what he wants to do, which is to make the Zerg, or make the game go on longer. In game 3, we saw the dropping happening on that side and the pulling back. It's like divide and conquer, but you want to make sure that the conquer force is the one at the freshest expansion. Do whatever you can to make sure that fresh expansion is what's going to... Biedrick says, Dear Day 9 is Protoss player, should I regard Zest or Rain as the love of my life? I think the answer is SOS. Oh, I just typed subscribers off in all caps, and it worked. Let's just take 2 or 3 more questions. Let's see. Royalatia says, Day 9 says something. In the 3rd game, when Zest used Zealots to deny the bottom left bases, would it be viable for Life to replace some Corruptors with Mutas to deal with the Zealot harass? Or to deal with the Zealots and to harass Toss's 4th? I would give the answer absolutely not. Because I think that Mutalisks do not align with any kind of goal that the Zerg would have. Mutalisks are going to be in really tiny numbers, so they won't be able to effectively harass anything unless we get them in really large numbers. And if we get them in as large a numbers as we can, we have some gas in Mutas, some in Corruptors, some in Swarm Hosts, and all this upgrade in Swarm Hosts. We're trying to do everything. So I think that from Life's point of view, Life is just saying, yeah, the Zealots will kill it. And I'm not looking to get as many resources as I can now. I'm looking to get as many resources guaranteed as possible in the course of the game. Which I think is the big distinction. So we can't harass with Mutas. We can kill the Zealots, but... I mean, that's fine. If we kill the Zealots, we get all the resources we want in the game sooner. Or we can do what the Swarm hosts do and get all the resources we want in the game, but just take a little longer doing it. The problem that Life had in that game was not really so much the harassment with the Zealots, it was the inability to get that key last island base. And I just think that I mean, it was just so close at the end. I don't think that it comes down to a big strategic decision. I think strategically speaking, both players looked good, right? Came into a really close game. Covert Muffin says, Day 9, is there a concise difference that brings about Life's success where other Zerg players that bring about his success, where other Zerg players have been falling short? I know what the question is. Like, what's the difference between Life's success and other Zerg players? I don't know. I don't have a good concise thing. I think I would just be making stuff up if I tried to answer that right now. I don't know. The most basic thing that Life does differently, I don't know if this makes him successful or not, but the big different thing that he does is he tends to just do his own thing. I've never really seen anyone do what he does. And he does a lot of really weird attacks. A lot of very unique, very weird attacks. I think where all Zergs are trying to think of how to defend and stay alive, that's the one, I guess, difference that I see out of Life is he's just attacking a lot. One more question. X-Sticks says, how do you avoid getting totally thrown off your game plan by the other player? I'm going to give a cheater answer. Well, the real cheater answer is like, just defend, duh. I'm useful. No, the cheater answer is that there are limited numbers of ways in which you will get thrown off. If your timing is crisp on your workers and you're probing and you're pyloning, like if your timing is great on those, you will start to see consistent ways in which you get thrown off, and then they will no longer become times at which you are thrown off. They become times at which your build deviates and you'll just have a new plan there. So I'd almost say perfect your fundamentals to make sure you're really nailing all that stuff there, and the rest of the time just play a lot and you'll start to just feel patterns emerge. It's a cheater answer, because if you don't play an absolute metric shitload, it doesn't mean anything. Tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and be literally Batman, and without any further ado, I'd want to say thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow for Batman, I'm Still Burning. Then Monday we're going to do a little mostly walking. Tuesday we're going to do Life. Wednesday we're going to do Hearthstone, Legend, Climbing. Thursday we're going to do Life. And I don't know what I'm doing Friday. See you then!